If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and follow my social media in the description. It really helps me out. What's up, everyone? So today we got another tier list, and today I'll be ranking every single Kanye West album from his first debut album, College Dropout, all the way to Jesus is King, and also, I see they got Cruel Summer and Watch the Throne and Kids See Ghosts in here, so also his collaborative projects as well. So I'm really excited for this one, as I am a really big Kanye fan, and I think it'll be very interesting to see how I rank all of these very different also records. So I guess we'll start off as with every tier list that I've done so far. So far we've done Logic, J. Cole, Kid Cudi, and now Kanye. I'll start off with my favorite Kanye album and then kind of rank them going from there and taking that as a benchmark. And my favorite Kanye album is still to this day my beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I know this is kind of a basic answer because a lot of fans and a lot of critics see this as Kanye's best album, but I think it stood the test of time as just a cornerstone in his career that was more important than anything else. You know, he had the whole Taylor Swift incident at the 2009 VMAs, and then he moved away to Japan and Rome and then recorded the album in Hawaii, and just from the first track, Dark Fantasy, to the last track, Who Will Survive in America, it's kind of like a storytelling of this irony that's been going on with him getting censored by the media and what fame has done to him. And this is an incredibly detailed and perfected piece of art. I think it will be like Kanye's album that you kind of hold up later in his career and be like, yo, this is what he did. Because it was also in a very important, not necessarily sound-wise. I feel like Kanye has a lot of different, or a lot of other albums that influenced whole generations of sounds that were prevalent in hip-hop after that. But I think this one, just culturally, I think this was a very big piece of culture that, you know, is a very important piece in his discography. And that's why it is my number one. Plus, the tracks on this are amazing. So, yeah, definitely a number one. Now, let's go through some more of this. Let's see what else we got. Kind of going through them, one of my favorites is 808s. I know a lot of people don't like it because it was kind of different. You know, we came off of Graduation, which was all this bling era, just glorification of money and women and the typical 2007 hip-hop sound. And 808s was different. Kanye at the time went through the death of his mother. He went through the breakup of his very long time girlfriend, and so this was more driven by emotion, and Kanye wanted to convey those emotions in an album. And this album, also with a very 808 bass heavy production, has influenced so many of the new school artists. You know, I saw an interview with Lil Uzi Vert, and he was talking about how 808s, he was listening to the record when he was a kid, and it made him feel sad, even though at the time he didn't know that he felt like he was supposed to be sad. And this album, with also the auto-tune on it, just paved the way for a lot of, today's emo rap and also trap production with the 808s, as I mentioned earlier. So I think this was ahead of its time by many means. And I think another album of his is Yeezus that is also in the same category of just being ahead of its time. I know a lot of Kanye fans and critics say this all the time, but I think this is really true, as also the messy production at some points on Yeezus, but still very crisp, and also how Kanye changes up song structures on Yeezus and makes it a very unpredictable album to listen to. But then his sampling game is so good, just from years of experience and pure talent, that he can just create something beautiful out of it. And that's why Yeezus is also, I think, a very underrated piece in Kanye's discography. But now, of course, I'm looking at all the other records, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I should rank these here. Now, personally, as I always say, I rank these by one, my personal opinion, and number two, by the importance of the album or the project in the artist's discography and in general in like hip hop and the culture. So that's why I'm kind of torn with putting 808s at like in the A category, because I definitely don't think it's as good as My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, but also maybe I'll do it like this. Maybe this is the right way to go. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Graduation. This was the first Kanye album that I listened to, matter of fact. This was the first Kanye project that I got into Kanye with. And that's why I will always like have it in my heart. I remember just listening to it when I was younger, you know, listening to Big Brother and all the songs on there, like Homecoming. And I think it's just, it perfectly represents, as I said earlier, that specific time in hip hop with the bling era and the production styles on this too. But I don't think it has aged very well. And that is why, and it also hasn't proven to be like a very important piece in his discography. And so that is why I would put it in the C category, as it is definitely not, it's not bad. And I really love the album because it has such a strong personal connection for me. But when you see it in the grander scheme and the bigger picture of things, it's definitely not on the level of creating influence like Yeezus or 808s, and not on the cultural level of like My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. So I think I'll put it on C. Maybe I'll move it up one later, but I think it'll stay at C. So now getting into some other records. Let's take Jesus is King. A lot of people say this is the worst Kanye album, and I mean, when I see them like next to each other, I might agree. Although I don't think that the hate that it gets is deserved, because there are many tracks on here that are very solid, and I think also the whole Christian innovation thing Kanye had going on at the time was something that was very forward thinking, and I commended that. I commended him for doing that. So that's why I'm not sure where I'll put this. I could put it at D, saying that it's his worst record, but it's not bad by any means. I love the production on here. I mean, it's Kanye. I'm always going to love the production. Songs on here, like I remember Water, I think is really good. Closed on Sundays, Follow God, God Is, all these tracks on here that I really liked. So I'm gonna put it in the D category, but definitely don't take this as like it's a bad record. It's like in the lowest category. It's a bad record. No, this is just compared to the other Kanye albums, it was just not as good. And of course, Kanye, I would say I like every single Kanye album. Of course, I do. Like, yeah, I definitely do. Looking at them now. All right, let's get a bit more into it. Let's take College Dropout, his first album, his debut back in 2004. This is, of course, the chop up the soul Kanye, as he said on I Love Kanye, a sound that he got famous for, which he later then, of course, he went through many phases with his sound and production choices. But this is definitely like a staple in his discography, marking his move from production into rapping. So a very important piece in his discography, 100%. I don't think it was as influential as maybe even 808s and Yeezus, just because, of course, his sampling was very, forward thinking, but at the time that was nothing that was, crazily new, unlike, certain aspects of Yeezus or 808s. So I'll put it in B because it's a very high quality album and one of Kanye's best albums, objectively. But that it kind of gets leveled out by the not lasting influence or ripples of influence that is spread out over the years. So that's why I'm put it here. And then we also have Late Registration, which was, to me, Late Registration is kind of like a deluxe edition of College Dropout, because the sound is, of course, not in all aspects of it, but the sound is similar at a lot of points. So I think I'll put this on the same level. In my opinion, Late Registration has better songs than College Dropout. But then again, we already had College Dropout's Late Registration on its own is nothing like even like less special or new than College Dropout was. So I think this is a good row. I'm really trying not to put everything in the B category, but we'll see where we go from here. We got Ye. Ye was definitely a project that I enjoyed when it first came out, but of course, Kanye, it compared to other Kanye projects and Kanye standards, it was nothing boundary pushing or new. And I think I will put this in the C category or maybe even the D category, just because the songs sometimes most of them are forgettable. It was nothing innovative, and that's why it was just not on par with Kanye, but still a quality album. Don't get me wrong. That's my whole problem here. I don't have none of these albums are bad by any means. So yeah, we have Kids Go. It's an incredible album, combining both Kid Cudi and Kanye's best sides, and then beautiful production. The features on here are used perfectly. So this is going somewhere up here. And see, this is what I mean. This is definitely a very good project, and I think in the Kid Cudi ranking, I also put it in like the second to best category. But then it's like I'm comparing it to like an 808s or a Yeezus, and I'm not sure if I would rank it above them. But I'll leave it like this for now. Of course, Kids See Goes has to stand the test of time, and maybe we'll see some of the influence that it had on hip hop in the future, and then we'll be like, oh yeah, this was definitely the right place to put it. But for right now, I'm kind of torn in between, like, this is a great record, it's definitely in the A category, and whoa, this shouldn't be above Graduation or like 808s. So I'm really not sure on this. Let's tackle The Life of Pablo now, though. The Life of Pablo was, of course, a very, very unperfected, unelegant way to roll out an album with the many changes that were made to the track list after the fact, and with just the very unfinished nature of some of the songs. But at the same time, that was also part of the beauty of the album and part of the appeal of it. So I really like The Life of Pablo. I do. I think it's kind of like Graduation, where it perfectly represents the point in time that it was made in for Kanye in his personal life, and also hip-hop and the music industry and generally our popular culture. So I think I would put it either in the C or B category. But since we have so much in the B category, I think I would switch it up like this. I think I'll put Late Registration 1 down, because it's kind of just like an extension of College Dropout, and then I'll put The Life of Pablo in the B category, because it's just kind of, I mean, I could put everything in the B category, but I'm trying to spread it out a little bit. We have two things left. We have Watch the Throne and The Cruel Summer. Kind of like collaboration by many artists, the Good Music team back in the day, the early 2010s. And Watch the Throne is definitely a project that was part of Kanye's victory lap after he came back with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and it doing really well, and kind of proving that he could get back into his career and be successful again. And tracks on here are definitely bangers on here. I remember, what's the first one called? It's No Church in the Wild. Definitely one of the best Jay-Z and Kanye collaborative songs. And then my favorite track on this, Why I Love You. The sample is when it gets pitched up in the second half of the hook. That's just beautiful. I could listen to that sample all day. I think that production is incredible on that one. And then Jay just carries the verses. Kanye comes in a little bit towards the end. That song is really good. And that's kind of like, when I go to that album, that's the song I put on. So if you haven't given Why I Love You as much of a shot, definitely go and listen to it. It's an incredible song. My favorite track off of this record. But in all, it's nothing crazy or boundary pushing. I think it was also at the time, I say this about a lot of albums from Kanye, but it fits perfectly the time that it was created in. And I think when we look back at it, we can see where we were at culturally as a society and culture. So this is also an important album, and I would put it, it's probably a C. I might have to change this up. I might do this, though. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do this. And then Cruel Summer. This is not a Kanye album itself. It's, we have songs by John Legend and Pusha T, and Kid Cudi has a single on here, and Tiana Taylor is featured on here a lot. And Sci-Hi. Yes, Sci-Hi was the one I was looking for. So I just listened to this the other day again, actually, which is funny. And a lot of the songs are forgettable. I still think the Don't Like a Chief Keef remix is really good on here. Kanye has some bars like hanging out the window is gonna be a Suge night. That's one of the craziest bars. I was just blown away by that every time I hear it. So I think also a C. Now it's all in the C category, but the C category is kind of like, it's a really good album, but just compared to Kanye standards, it didn't, musically push all the abilities and talent that he has. And that's, I think, why this is also in the C category. I think now looking at this, I'm cool with this. This is like a good tier list. I'm happy with this. I think my personal choices and the influences that Kanye has had on the music industry over the years and on our culture are represented pretty well in this list. So I think this is a good list. I'm cool with this. Yeah. Let me know what y'all favorite Kanye albums are in the comments. If you disagree with me, if you agree with me, let me know which of the choices I made in this video you definitely do not agree with, and then let me know why y'all would put different albums in different categories. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you watched it to the end, I would appreciate it if y'all would subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and go follow my social media and my blog in the description. It really, really, really helps me out. So until the next one, y'all have an amazing, incredible day.